all the pieces are moving into place. Hey guys, welcome to Comic Book Nostalgia. I'm CB Nostalgia, and today we've got a review of the 12th episode of the second season of Titans entitled Faux. But before we get started, make sure you get on this month's giveaway. We're giving away a copy of Kingdom Come, one of the greatest comics ever by Mark Waid and Alex Ross. To get in on the giveaway, all you have to do is be a subscriber, hit like, and leave a comment. Well, we're rolling up on the finale of the second season of Titans, and our Titans are still scattered all over the place. This was another episode where none of the team was really together, and we did a lot of bouncing around, which was a little disjointed. But overall, I thought it was a better episode than the week before. So let's dig into this week's episode. We open this week's episode with a rehash of Jericho's death, but this time we get to see Slade become possessed. Then we end up inside Slade's head, where the battle between father and son is epic. Jericho is trapped in his head, and Slade is tormenting him. And while we're in Slade's head, we find out where Jericho's allegiances lie. It's with the Titans. He wants so bad to escape that in the real world, he actually tries to make Slade walk out into traffic and get himself killed, but fails. Now at this point, we jump over to Gar, who's still under the control of Cadmus, and is sent into a coffee shop, where they put him into full beast mode. After Gar kills some of the patrons under their control, he returns to a Cadmus fan, and is completely traumatized and broken. This whole scene really puts Cadmus's full evil on display for the fans. It works, and really shows how bad Mercy Graves is. Now like I said, we jump around because the characters are so split, and now we end up with Dawn and Donna, who are now back in San Francisco and going after the Cadmus guy, Walter. They pay a visit to himself, and since he's kind of a loser, he's super easily gamed by a couple beautiful women, they end up in the home and have him under the lasso. Now the lasso is awesome, and the effect is really good. Well, I suppose unless it's on you. But under the lasso, he tells them all about Gar and Connor, and how Cadmus has them under their control. They even mention a Phase 2. Now he doesn't know what Phase 2 is, but this does send Donna and Dawn out to look for some help, and there's none there. The only one that they know of is Hank. Now a lot of this episode is based around Hank, who we haven't seen in a bit, and he's made some changes in his life. Bad changes. He's a cage fighter now, in some sort of underground illegal fight club. The spiral is horrible. Hank is in full addiction mode now, and surprisingly is actually addicted to cocaine, which is more than a little disturbing. He's completely succumbed to his addictions, and the cage fighting appears to be the way he's making money. Now, one of the interesting things that shows how much of a mess he is he hooks up with a groupie, and he is so broken from pain and addiction he can't, we'll call it, complete the act, so to speak. Hank is a total mess. Now, when we return to seeing Rachel and Kory, Kory's powers are still failing her. She can't seem to muster a lot of fire, and she's clearly worried about it. The banter between them has been pretty good though, especially when talking about Dick, and Kory wants Rachel to dream up his exact location. Kory has all these changes going on, and these changes in herself and what's going on in her home have left Kory in a place of desperation and clear hopelessness, and it appears to be impacting her powers and her personally. Now, they hear about the news of the attack in the coffee shop, which they know is Gar, and they are forced to abandon their hunt for Dick Grayson and head back to San Francisco. Now, Jason and Rose are still an item. They're still hanging out, having hot dogs, and Jason is attempting to be nice and sweet. Everybody loves Bad Boy Sweet. Jason sees a text from Rachel to go and help Gar, and Jason's not having any of it. But Rose, in her new perspective after abandoning her dad, seems to want to help. Now this is where she reveals her origin story to Jason, in the form of a flashback scene. Now during the flashback scene, Rose is involved in an accident and is pretty hurt, a really nasty broken leg, which heals itself Deadpool style. When she realizes that she's never hurt, she confronts her mom about who her real father is, and she actually tells her it's Slade. But when she seeks out Slade at first, he's not interested and pushes her away, even after she graphically shows her what kind of power she actually has. Slade does reconsider, probably because of the Titans, and decides to train her to become Ravager. Now, I love the costume, and I was worried it would look hokey on screen, but it does kind of work. She also reveals to Jason that she helped Deathstroke break out Dr. Light, and then started his plan on the Titans, and he took her eye. Let's just say Jason is less than happy about the reveal and completely abandons Rose. Slade contacts Rose and tells her to go to San Francisco because he is preparing for war. Now, we haven't seen a lot of Dick Grayson in this episode, and he's still on the run. He actually shows up at Jericho's mother's house. She welcomes him in and offers him a glass of water, seeming to have reduced that antagonistic relationship that we saw in previous episodes. She tells him that Deathstroke has gone to kill the Titans, and actually gives him a path to redemption: bring her son back. On the way to San Francisco, Dick stops at Stu's Handmade Shoes, but this isn't a shoe store. And despite a really unhappy shopkeeper about how Dick treated his last pair of shoes, he agrees to help him out. But this isn't a shoe shop. This is something right out of a little kid dream. This is a superhero costume store. The real deal. The factory. And we all know what is about to happen. The Nightwing costume is inbound, and this is what many of us have been waiting for since the very first episode. Now, we head back over to Hank. And earlier in the episode, Hank had a short scene with a vivid dream of him fighting Dawn in a cage, but it's really a battle about his addiction and how Dawn is playing the role of Jiminy Cricket and calling him out. Towards the end of the episode, he hears some news about a robbery that was a dude in his costume. He finds a person in the suit who's actually a 16-year-old kid trying to be a superhero and finds out he sold the suit for cocaine money. He also finds out that the young man didn't commit a robbery. The place was just a front for money laundering, and he wanted to be a Titan. He actually gives Hank an awesome lesson on being a hero. And this causes Hank to have what addicts will call his moment of clarity. Now, we haven't seen the result, but we saw his face, and it was clearly happening. Now, we close out the episode with Walter, who's still tied up, and Cadmus. Mercy is moving up phase 2, whatever that means. And we close out the episode with Gar in a van at a carnival. You hear the music go on, and you see him start to transform. Roll credits. Now, the Rose origin story in the superhero suit factory kind of made this episode. Not to mention, Hank's battle with addiction is pretty compelling too. You totally want to root for him, and you want him to beat this. We only have one more episode before the finale, and it looks like the Titans are going to finally come together. Although very little overall happened in this episode, everybody's story moved forward a couple spaces, and hopefully sets up the conclusion of the season very well. I just don't want another cliffhanger. I like this episode more than last week, so I give it 7.5 out of 10. I love this show, and I know I'm nice to it, but I had a good time. I really enjoyed the Hank and Rose story arcs, and can't wait for next week. Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you press like, click subscribe, and if you don't ring that bell, you won't get any updates. Peace.